Hi viewers, welcome to this video. It is about sickle cell anemia in children. It is a very useful video for you because this is one of the common area from which questions are asked in the staff nurse exam or nursing officer exam. Let us come to the topic. First, we will discuss about the description of sickle cell anemia in children and followed by questions that was asked in the previous staff nurse examination related to sickle cell anemia. About the epidemiology, it predominantly affects individuals of African and Eastern Mediterranean descent. It also affects children of Indian descent, especially the tribal people of India. Coming to the definition or meaning of the disorder, it is a genetic disorder. It affects RBC. It causes RBC to become sickle or crescent shape. The effect of this condition is due to an abnormality of the hemoglobin molecule found in the erythrocytes. So it is a genetic disorder. It runs in family or it is a hereditary disorder. Which blood cell it affects? It affects the erythrocyte. What is the shape of RBCs in sickle cell disease? Sickle or crescent shaped. Why the RBC becomes sickle or crescent shaped? It is due to abnormality of the hemoglobin molecule that are found in the erythrocytes. Let us discuss about the pathophysiology of sickle cell anemia. First, about the structure of normal hemoglobin molecule. The HB is seen within red blood cell. Normally it is round and red in color. Each hemoglobin consists of 4 globin chain. 2 alpha chain, you can see one is this one and the other is here. And 2 beta chain, one is here and this is here. So it consists of total 4 globin chain, that is 2 alpha chain and 2 beta chain. Every alpha chain consists of 141 amino acid and beta chain consists of 146 amino acid. Within each of this globin chain, you can see one iron molecule is placed. So total there are 4 iron in a hemoglobin. The normal hemoglobin found in human body are HbA, HbA2 and HbF. The abnormal hemoglobins include HbS, HbC and HbE. The mechanism of pathogenesis in sickle cell anemia. Already we knew that the hemoglobin consists of 4 amino acid chain, 2 alpha and 2 beta chain. In sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease, the beta chain of the hemoglobin get affected. Normally, the beta chain consists of 146 amino acids. You can see here, the colored boxes are, suppose it is amino acid. So, in 6th position, in the beta chain, in the 6th position, it is normally glutamic acid. The 6th amino acid is glutamic acid in the 146 amino acid chain. In sickle beta chain, the 6th amino acid, that is glutamic acid, is replaced by valine. That is the mechanism here. Glutamic acid is replaced by valine in the 6th position of 146 chained amino acid. So the RBC become sickle in shape. Why such a replacement of amino acid occurs? It is due to a mechanism called a point mutation in the beta globin chain that is seen in chromosome number 11. Because of this point mutation, the glutamic acid is replaced with valine that leads to 2 alpha globin and 2 mutated beta globin subunit, leading to pathological hemoglobin S, that is HbS. This is the sickle hemoglobin. Sometimes this glutamic acid can be replaced with another amino acid called lysine, creating hemoglobin C, the other abnormal hemoglobin. Coming to the inheritance of sickle cell disease. The predominant inheritance pattern is autosomal recessive. The inheritance pattern is autosomal recessive. So 4 types of combination can occur here. One combination is one parent is normal and the other parent has sickle cell trait. In normal parent, both the hemoglobin are normal, or both the genes of hemoglobin are normal. In a parent with the sickle cell trait, one hemoglobin is normal and the other hemoglobin is sickle. So their children, 50% of their children can be normal. See, one AA and the other AA. That means 50% of their children. Out of 4, 2 are normal. That is 50%. Then out of 4, 2 are with trait. That is 50%. Or in other words, 50% of their children are normal and 50% of their children are having sickle cell trait. If one parent is normal and the other parent is having sickle cell trait. This is one possibility. The other possibility of inheritance is if both parents are having sickle cell trait. This is the commonly found possibility in African American and other predominant races where sickle cell anemia is common. Both parents are having the trait. So if the both parents having the trait, see AS and AS. Their children, you can see here, 50% of their children will be having sickle cell trait, 25% will be normal and 25% will be having sickle cell anemia. This is the common possibility. This is the most commonly asked question from sickle cell anemia. If both parents are having sickle cell trait, what percentage of their children will be having sickle cell anemia? They may ask, or sickle cell trait they may ask, or sickle cell normally they may ask. So the normal children is 25%, children with the trait is 50%, and with anemia is 25%. Remember it. Coming to, if one parent is having trait and the other parent is having anemia, this is another rare combination. Trait means AS, anemia means SS. Both the hemoglobin will be abnormal. In trait, one hemoglobin is normal and the other hemoglobin is abnormal. So in this combination, 50% of their children will be having trait and 50% of their children will have anemia. If both one parent is trait and the other parent is anemic, sickle cell anemic and sickle cell trait. The other combination, one parent is normal and the other parent is sickle cell anemic. Then in the normal parent, both the hemoglobin will be normal. In anemic parent, both the hemoglobin will be abnormal. So their children will be 100% of their children will be having sickle cell trait. See here, 4 children will be having sickle cell trait, or 100% of their children will be having sickle cell trait when one parent is normal and the other parent is anemic. Coming to the abnormality, or what happens to the blood flow if the RBC becomes sickle in shape or crescent in shape. This is the normal mechanism. Normally, the RBCs are round in shape and they are elastic. Then, because of their round shape in round or convex shape, they can squeeze through blood vessels easily like this, and they can change their shape according to the diameter of the blood vessels because of their elasticity. That is a normal mechanism. When the RBC becomes sickle shaped, they become sticky to the endothelium or wall of the blood vessel. That will lead to thrombosis, formation of thrombosis. Also, they lost their elasticity. So they cannot pass through the blood vessel which are smaller in diameter. So they try to accumulate there, or they may try to clump there. As a result, there is obstruction of blood flow to the part supplied by these blood vessels. So normally RBCs are round in shape. They can easily pass through the blood vessel and adjust the shape according to the diameter. When the RBC becomes sickle in shape, they attach or adhere to the wall of the blood vessel or endothelium, and they cannot adjust their shape since they are inelastic, and they try to clump there, obstructing the blood flow to the body part. Coming to the genetics again, in brief, it is an autosomal recessive pattern of inheritance. So there can be two types of offspring, heterozygote and homozygote. In heterozygote, there is HB, S and A. That is, one hemoglobin is S and the other is normal. That means there is only one sickle allele and the other allele is normal. That condition is called a sickle cell trait. So sickle cell trait, they are heterozygote, that is HBS and A, two different allele. One is normal and the other is abnormal. The other abnormality or combination is homozygotes, that is HBS and S. Both the hemoglobin are sickle, or they carry two sickle allele, and that is called a sickle cell anemia. So this is another common question. Sickle cell anemia, two alleles are abnormal. In sickle cell trait, one allele only abnormal. Or in sickle cell trait, heterozygote, and sickle cell anemia, it is homozygote. Always remember. Coming to the pathomechanism. The HBS or sickle hemoglobin polymerizes when deoxygenated, causing deformation of erythrocytes. These are the conditions that can cause deoxygenation usually. They include hypoxia, infection, dehydration, acidosis, changes in temperature, stress, and pregnancy. Under these conditions, deoxygenation can occur or reduced oxygen tension can occur in the blood. So when there is reduced oxygenation in the blood, the RBC will become deformed because the hemoglobin S undergo polymerization. That will result in sickling shape of the RBC. The deoxygenating condition can cause polymerization of sickle hemoglobin that leads to deformation of erythrocyte, that is the sickling process. Remember always these 7 conditions. These are another area from sickle cell anemia commonly asked in the examination. The condition that can produce sickling or sickling crisis. In homozygotes, up to 100% of hemoglobin molecule are affected. Already we have seen in homozygotes, both alleles are abnormal. So 100% of hemoglobin molecules are affected, leading to sickle cell formation under minimally decreased oxygen tension. In heterozygote, that is sickle cell trait, only one hemoglobin is abnormal, the other is normal. So sickling occurs due to severe reduction in oxygen tension. Sickle cell lack elasticity, we have already told, and they adhere to the endothelium or wall of the blood vessel. So there is vascular occlusion or occlusion within the blood vessel and resulting in tissue infection and ischemia. And these deformed blood cells can be destructed by the body, that will lead to hemolysis. It can be extravascular and it can be intravascular. So rapid hemolysis results in anemia. Because of this anemia, there is increased production of erythrocytes in the body. That leads to increased demand of folate. Folate is required for the production of erythrocyte. So excessive demand and reduced supply may result in folate deficiency in the body. Also, the body will try to increase the production of fetal hemoglobin to compensate for low levels of HbA. Hemoglobin F is other type of normal hemoglobin in the found human body. It is not usually present in adult. But in this case, the body will start producing HbF instead of reduced level of HbA, or to compensate for reduced level of HbA. So that is the brief discussion about this condition. So far we have seen the definition, the genetics and the pathophysiological mechanism or etiopathogenesis of sickle cell anemia. We will see some of the questions from this area that is commonly asked already in some of the examinations of staff nurse selection. Question number 1. Which statement about how sickle cell anemia is passed to the offspring is correct? For inheritance pattern is given here. From this you have to choose only one and eliminate 3. A. This disease is an X-linked recessive disease. B. An autosomal dominant disease. C. Autosomal recessive disease. D. X-linked dominant disease. So the options are X-linked recessive and X-linked dominant. Autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive. Coming to the answer and why the other options are incorrect. The correct answer is C. That is already we have seen sickle cell anemia follow an autosomal recessive pattern of inheritance. That means the offspring must have two hemoglobin S gene or two abnormal hemoglobin, one from each parent, to produce the condition. Parents usually don't have the disease but are carriers. Usually they don't have the disease but are carriers. For the disease to occur in the offspring, they must possess both of these genes, that is HBS, or in other words homozygotes. On the contrary, autosomal dominant pattern, the offspring has to have only one abnormal gene from one parent and will produce signs and symptoms of the disease. In this case, two genes are required to produce the signs and symptoms. So this is not an autosomal dominant pattern of inheritance. Coming to the second common question asked from this area, which type of hemoglobin is present in a patient who has sickle cell trait? Four types of hemoglobin are present here or mentioned here. You have to choose only one. Eliminate other three. A. Hemoglobin AA, B. Hemoglobin AS, C. Hemoglobin SS, and D. Hemoglobin AC. The correct answer is B. The sickle cell trait is heterozygous. Already we have seen. One gene is normal and the other gene is abnormal, which means the patient has one normal allele, that is hemoglobin A, that is normal hemoglobin, and one abnormal hemoglobin, that is hemoglobin S. This hemoglobin S leads to abnormal construction of RBC or deformation of RBC. However, most sickle cell trait do not show signs and symptoms. Why? They have just enough normal hemoglobin A to prevent sickling of RBC. So always remember, usually sickle cell trait patients do not show signs and symptoms because they have just enough level of hemoglobin A in the blood. Coming to third common question. A 25-year-old pregnant female and her partner both have sickle cell trait. What is the percentage of their offspring will develop sickle cell anemia? While discussing the inheritance pattern, I have mentioned the common pattern is both parents have the trait. So the percentage of children with the sickle cell disease also mentioned there. So identify the answer. A 50%, B 25%, C 75%, D 100%. Coming to the discussion, the answer is B. That is 25% of their children will have sickle cell anemia. See here, both parents have sickle cell trait. That means in both of them one gene is abnormal. So out of these four children, one child is normal, that is 25%. Two children have sickle cell trait, that is 50%. And only one child has anemia, that is 25%. So if both parents are having the trait of the disease, 25% of their child will have, or 25% chance that their child will have sickle cell anemia, 50% chance that their child have a sickle cell trait, and 25% chance that the child is normal or usual. That is the answer. Coming to next question. As the nurse, you know that the patient population listed below is at risk of sickle cell anemia. Native American, African American, Pacific Islanders, and Latino. The answer is B, that is African American. That is one population in which sickle cell anemia is common. The other population are Middle Eastern, Asian, Caribbean, and Eastern Mediterranean. Then why African Americans have such a common or predominant level of sickle cell anemia? 1 in 12 African Americans have the sickle cell trait. 1 in 12 African Americans have sickle cell trait. So that can be passed to their offspring. Remember, if both parents have sickle cell trait, 25% chance they will pass it to their child. Coming to next asked question. A 14-year-old female has sickle cell anemia. Which factors below can increase the patient's risk for developing the sickle cell crisis? A. Shellfish, B. Dehydration, C. Low altitude, D. Light exercise. Coming to the answer and why other options are incorrect. The option is B, that is dehydration can lead to sickle cell crisis. Sickle cell crisis can occur when the body experiences low amount of oxygen in the body. While discussing the reasons of sickle cell crisis or sickling process, we have mentioned 7 conditions that can cause deoxygenation in a child with sickle cell anemia, and that deoxygenation can lead to sickling process. So one of the reason was dehydration. So dehydration is the answer here. The other reasons are infection, especially respiratory infection, hypoxia, then high altitude. In the option C, they have given low altitude. High altitude produce reduced oxygen tension, not low altitude. Then hemorrhage, strenuous exercise can lead to sickle cell crisis. In the option D, light exercise is given. Not light exercise, but strenuous exercise can lead to sickling process. This is the end of this section. We will see in another video with the remaining of sickle cell anemia and the common question asked from those portions. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share this channel.